Welcome into the Coach's Corner, everybody. Joshua Cook now joined by the coach of the 2021 SPC 3A champion John Cooper School football team, Erik Dehaven. Coach, how's that sound as a title?
That sounds pretty good. Can't lie.
You mentioned before we came on that it really hasn't hit yet. Like, it hasn't hit yet that the season y'all had, the win until kind of yesterday, equipment turned in and stuff. There were happy tears instead of the sad tears of end of season. Like, when do you think it's gonna hit? Has it started to hit a little bit of what y'all accomplished this season?
I mean, I'd say it started hitting when, the full comprehension of it. No, but when the kids from the previous teams and stuff like that started sending messages, and then on the sidelines when you see guys that graduated, 3 years ago that were. Or 4 years ago when they were in that championship game, and to see how excited they were that someone got it done. I mean, that was pretty special for sure.
This was the third time to be in the championship game. I believe the second time for you since you've gotten to John Cooper. What was it like just to finish the job? I mean, to finish it out and just take me through those final moments as the clock runs down on the field and the celebration ensues.
Well, I think we got the ball back with around, 5.5 minutes left or so like that. And our offensive line was doing a tremendous job all night. I expected, going into the game, I expect them to have a big night. And Jackson Pierce would run the ball hard. And, you got to do those things to win a championship. And, probably in that last couple of minutes there, that's when it kind of started hitting that we were going to get the job done. Then we go and throw an interception and things. But it wasn't. There's nothing the kids did or anything like that. It's just, we went out and 3-and-outed them. And at that moment, you kind of realized, okay, all the work that these coaches and more importantly, these players have put in, especially the senior class, for them to, be in their third championship game. It was pretty special at that time.
Who's the first person you thought of when the game was over and the championship had been won?
Honestly, my wife, because that's something, in this profession, all coaches' wives have to be pretty special. And the time you spend away, those hours, it's a year-round job. And, I think about those sacrifices. And that was one of the things, that's one of the first people I wanted to hug. But then obviously the seniors, too, at that moment. And then thoughts go through your head where last year the COVID team and Team 10 and the guys who weren't able to potentially experience that. And, all those emotions come out at that time.
Well, and what's even more not remarkable, but, about y'all's season is, you came out of the gates and dropped the first two. You drop an overtime, kind of heartbreaker there in the game 2. And then after that, y'all didn't lose a game. 8 straight wins to win an SPC championship. And what kind of happened after those first 2 losses? Did you say anything to the team? What magical dust did you sprinkle on to rattle off 8 straight and win it all?
Well, I think, the SPC is so unique. And once we hit conference, every game's a playoff game. And so we know, in those first 3 games that not only the players, but as coaches, that we got to find out what our team strengths are. And, you always perceive what they might be going into the season. And so it's kind of a learning curve for all of us. And no one pushed a panic button. Everybody just said, okay, we got to continue to get better at these things. And, there's a lot of lessons learned in those games. And that's how we have to approach it. And so when you get into conference, you understand who you are and what you're about. And then you can go ahead and highlight those strengths that you have. So it was a big learning curve. It wasn't any magical dust or anything. It was just us staying together. The guys did a phenomenal job. The seniors knew what the ultimate goal was, and we knew that we'd all get there together. So that was pretty much it.
And then a couple of your guys that you pointed out the other day when we were talking, Vaughn Mckeever at quarterback, Gamble Reed at defensive end. Just talk about Mckeever at quarterback, the job he did to operate this offense. I think over 2,000 yards passing for the year, and a great year for him.
Yeah, Vaughn Mckeever is a very special young man. I mean, the way he throws a football, the arm angles and things like that, his ability to run, he's a dual threat guy. And, we knew that it would take, first couple games for him to hit his stride, but he exceeded our expectations tremendously. I mean, he's going to be I believe he's a major college type talent kid. 6'3", and a half frame, and his leadership, throughout the season just kept getting better and better and better. And his understanding of the game. So it was pretty special to watch, and our coaches did a great job with him. And Gamble Reed is a beast. He broke our single season sack record. I think he's into the season with 9 sacks. Special football player, played offense, played defense, threw a touchdown this year. I mean, we just used him. He's kind of our Swiss Army knife. And it was pretty special to watch him host up that trophy.
I feel like if Gamble Reed doesn't have the nickname The Gambler at this point, someone needs to make that happen. I'm just saying. Besides those 2 guys, I know it takes more than 2 guys to win a championship. I'll just give you the floor. Who else? Just go down the list of guys that stepped up big, surprised you, heroes throughout the season to bring this championship back to John Cooper School.
I'd start with our offensive line. Will Biso, he's a big force in the middle. Owen Woodside's a big force in the middle. Matthew Periginis had starts since his freshman year. Patrick Wilkins was phenomenal at tackle for us. Evan Harrison was phenomenal at tackle for us. Will Young, tremendous athlete. I believe he ended up his career having 6 interceptions, playing both offense and defense, and somewhere close to 800 yards receiving. Big time player. Kyler Sullivan, a junior, had big plays for us. James Masiola was a big time wide receiver, a very explosive player. Hayden Hammett was kind of a Swiss Army knife too, playing offense and defense. And then, we had a dual head monster in the backfield. What Jackson Pierce really came on towards the end of the year. I think he broke the school rushing record. Well, I know he broke the school rushing record. He was averaging somewhere close to 8 yards a carry at the end of this thing. Owen Basgard was kind of like that quick lightning guy that we could use. So those guys were tremendous. Gamble Reed and Connor Dove at defensive ends. I mean, it's pretty special to have both of those guys. Both sides were pretty much locked down with them. Connor Dove's a huge talent, did phenomenal things. A guy we moved from offensive line to defensive line, Jack Sessions, was tremendous at nose guard. I think he had 2 sacks in a year, and that's unheard of for a nose guard in a 3-5 defense. So that was great. Our linebacking core interchanged throughout the season, but Alex Riverosa had a really good year for us at linebacker. Carson Berger had a really good year. Jax came over and played a little for us, at linebacker. But a guy was tremendous for us defensively too was Blake Pitts. I mean, he's everywhere. We obviously started recognizing teams started running away from that side of our defense pretty early on. So he was huge. And then, the cornerback position was unique because all the starting receivers basically played corner for us. We lost somebody in spring football last year due to an injury, and some guys had to step up. And then we lost another corner, early on this season with Ryan Cockrell hurting his shoulder. So we basically looked at our wide receiver core and said, can you guys come over and play some corner? Dual, in a fast-paced offense, that's a hard thing to do. But once we got in shape, they did a good job. And then kind of the anchor, obviously, in the secondary was a young man who had a phenomenal year, led our team in tackles, and that was Ronnie Woodall. I mean, those guys, Ronnie was special. He's kind of old school, big time hitter and Mighty Mouse type guy. Like, not a very big kid, but he gave you everything he had, and it was fun to watch him play.
And as any coach, when we open this up and talking about celebrating this and what's it like and stuff, and you're like the old ball coach, like flip the page, start thinking about what's coming back next year, kind of reflecting on this year. I mean, do you look towards next year? And I mean, now the Tribes be like, okay, we've done it now. Now can we go do it back-to-back years? And I mean, does the momentum build into the offseason coming off a championship year?
No, absolutely. I think it's a different feel around here. The expectation, this team 11 starting to set as far as the weight room. to push Team 12 coming up. And so, you know, the first meeting I have is with our strength coach, right, when the season's done. And, you know, talking about our hours, and these guys we did our end of year evaluations yesterday, and these guys are ready to commit to the weight room. And, you know, once we get done with our team party at the end of the year, Team 11, we'll close that chapter, and it's time for Team 12 at that point. And so I'm told the guys, everyone wants to get to the weight room now, and you know what, let your bodies heal for a couple weeks here. And when we start, we'll start fast and start strong.
Well, you know, like they say, champions, they always get really big rings. So we can't wait to see the dragon on top of a SPC Championship ring. Do you mean, I know it's very quick to change, you know, to switch the page. So, but do you allow yourself a little bit to celebrate this, to kind of take this all in, the designing of a ring, the championship, the banners, like all that fun stuff that comes with winning a championship?
You know, I have a great co-offensive coordinator, Coach Eddington, who sits literally 2 feet from me. And I kind of put the ball in his court and some of that stuff. I'm more of a football coach than a designer, and they'll tell you that for sure. So yeah, I feel like, you know, that is pretty fun. It's pretty special for the kids, and they're pretty excited about it. You know, I have kids sending me their ring size already, and we haven't asked for it. So they're pretty eager.
They're going and getting measured for rings already. They're like, Coach, this is my ring size. Just letting you know.
Facts.
All right. Well, he is Erik Dehaven. He is the head coach of the SPC 3A champion John Cooper School Dragons. Coach, congratulations to you and your guys. Team 11 got it done. They're the champions of SPC 3A. Congrats on the great season.
Thank you. Appreciate everything you do.